Hello everyone, and welcome to this video where we are going to talk about one thing and one thing only, and it is where are you going to position your liquid filters in a pumping scenario. So we have beaten this topic to death. We talked about it a lot. We looked into the most optimal solution situation where you have all kinds of pressure releases and all kinds of things going into your pump. But we're going to talk about the most simplest of systems here, and that is literally just a pump and potential filters. Now, each one of these three tanks is the same size. It has a pressure release, which means it has just a gas filter attached to a exchange or fluid, whatever you want to call this, pass-through port. So in theory, what's going to happen with each of these 6 containers is they should be pressurizing into the atmosphere level. So we're not worrying at all about the pressure of the tank. Now, I know I looked in the past at what if we don't have this, what if we have, a connection here with a valve and all this stuff. That doesn't matter here. We're looking at the most simple of systems. So the first one is literally just a pump. Absolutely, there is no liquid valve or no liquid filter on this, meaning the liquid filter is what I call it, but it's called the liquid relief valve. Liquid filter, liquid relief valve, in my head, same thing. The point is, it's something that only allows liquid through. We're not using it here. But in the next one, we're using it to filter out only liquids to enter into the pump. So what's going to happen is inside this bottom tank full of liquid and gas, well, only liquid is allowed in. And in my head, the way this is supposed to happen is now 100% of the pump's power is being put into processing, pushing out that liquid. It's not wasting anything on the gas like this unit here. So that's here. The next one is putting the filter after the pump. Now, spoiler alert, this ends up being the fastest, but it also does not work. So do not use this system. I just wanted to showcase it here. I want to make this formal statement, formal announcement in comparing these systems. Why does this not work? Well, check this out. You're pumping liquid and gas into your pump. You're spinning it up, and all of a sudden, boom, you're stopping all the gas, only allowing the liquid to pass through. Well, in theory, that works for a period of time, but what happens when this pump becomes saturated with gas? It no longer pumps. So that in itself does not work. This one would appear to be the fastest and best, but you're going to see the results may not prove that. So I'm just going to let it run for a bit here. I just brought it into the hangar, but I let it run for a little bit, and what are we getting? Well, the one with no filters is getting around 1,000 liters. The one with the liquid filter before the pump is getting around 400, or about half. And the one with the liquid filter downstream or after the pump is getting around 1,000, which is the same as the one that has no filter. So if we continue, let's see what happens. Alright, we've hit around 2,000 liters on the ones on the outsides and around 1,000 liters on the one in the middle. You could see just how slow the middle one is increasing while the outside ones are steadily going up and the number is increasing. Now, because we have the new flow rate metric, you could see this is around 20, whereas this one is closer to 6. And then this one here is now dying down. And if we pause this, you could see that while this one is almost hitting 3,000, well, not almost, but if we let it go, it's going to come and slowly hit 3,000, whereas that one pretty much stopped. Okay, the middle one is still continuing, but let's take a look. This one is dropping fast. Wow. This one, we're still going steady at the 6, and this one is building 23.5 and rising. So that is telling me that the one on the left does not work. So do not, I repeat, do not use the filter after the pump. You will stall the system by literally plugging the pump. And there's no way to clean it, which is the worst part. Again, middle one slowly growing, but it seems that it's that like 6, and it just continues on. Now, yes, we truly are only pumping liquid in that scenario, whereas except that on the outside one, we have to accept that we're pumping both the liquid and the gas. Now, if we do stop the systems, obviously the flow rate goes down to 0. And if we fire them back up again, you'll see that it starts off a little bit stronger. It actually started off at 36 in this case, rising to 37, and it's going to make its way kind of up and down, and I'm believing that's based on the atmospheres. You could see that it says fluid in is 40 at 0.2 atmospheres, whereas fluid out is negative 41 at 6 atmospheres. So that number is increasing as we slowly start to get to the very bottom of this, whereas over here we have a much reduced rate, and actually it's dropping too in itself, which is telling me it's a factor of the pressure of each of these two, the liquid and the gas up in that top container. But like, just look at that number, right? That one's stalled out. That one is garbage. Never, ever, ever do this. Basically, that doesn't work. This one will work, but you're going to have a massive reduction in speed. Now, funny enough, this is the system I'm using in all my bilge pumps. I'm going to admit it. I just used this on my bilge pumps thinking, all right, it's going to be the fastest. Like I explained, in my head, this was logical, but it seems that this is by far the more optimal system. Now, it seems that we have slowed down. Now, that flow rate number, something doesn't really add up because we've slowed down in how fast these numbers are going. But what it's telling me is that the flow rate was high. Doesn't mean it's the liquid flow rate. That very well could be the gas, whereas this number is only the liquid. So keep that in mind as we see this number going up, but yet this showing an extremely high flow rate, way higher than when we had just the pure liquid going through, which we had at first. So there is some things to be said about this, but overall, just look at that. Absolutely no filter, and it pumped everything out. With the filter, we're like halfway, and filter downstream, forget about it. Just forget about it. You don't want to use that. So pretty much that's it. You get these things. I would recommend this. I now have to go and change all my boats. Even if we look inside the lobster boat, well, the first thing we see is my bilge pump here is attached to this pump, which has this liquid relief valve. So you don't want to have this pretty much anywhere, in my opinion. You can just as, well, not just as fast, much faster, pump out whatever you need to pump out using this, and then rely on having your little air intakes on the roof that are going to bring in and allow your cabin to replenish with oxygen. So that is kind of the short scoop of this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Hope you learned something, and if not, just having that information in one place, solid, right in front of you, rather than having to rely on 10 previous videos that talked about it but didn't really talk about it, because I was also looking into what is the best and fastest method. Here we're not talking about the best and fastest, we're just comparing 3 scenarios where to put your filter, and we got a pretty clear answer with that. So thank you for watching. Stay tuned for more videos, stay tuned for more content, more creations, more all kinds of stuff, and I'll see you next time. Happy Stormworksing, everyone.